Hi everyone, it's Kate from The Forward Line. I am back this week with the edit. This is our weekly roundup of new sewing patterns. I hope you had a lovely week and feeling ready to do a bit of sewing. It's very warm still. I feel like autumn hasn't hit us yet. I'm not sure when it's going to come, but it's feeling like summer just is going to carry on forever, which I am totally fine with. Before I get onto the patterns, one quick little bit of housekeeping. We have basically filled up our warehouse to the brim and they've rang and said that we've run out of space. So we're having a little warehouse sale. So we're offering 40% off paper patterns from in the sale section. I'll pop a link down below. I'm going to say it with slight trepidation because hopefully there'll still be some stuff there. We did launch it a little bit earlier in the week. I'm sure there will be some stuff in there, but there's some really nice things in there. So go and have a look if you're feeling like you want to treat yourself. Right, let's get started. So Maison Fauve to start with. I've got 5 patterns from them, which are just great because they release theirs in little like collections of 5 or 6. Great for autumn, whenever it comes. So the first one I've got is the Dandelion jacket. I love this. If you haven't seen it yet, it's so great. So sizes 6 to 22, paper only for this pattern. Let me show you the line drawing because the pictures are gorgeous, but they have, all of them are quite printed, so sometimes it's hard to see what's actually going on. So it's a really, to me, it's a very sort of feminine take on a bomber jacket, which I really love. And I love actually that they've used floral fabrics. I think it really works and sort of changes up the kind of feel of it. So there's quite a lot of different options you can see here. So the cut doesn't change, but there are different options with pockets which actually make it look totally different. So there are patch pockets, there are welt pockets, there's the sort of kangaroo style pocket, or you can go no pockets. The back I think is really beautiful. So if we have a look at it, you can see that there's a slightly curved waistband and there are these little like pleats that are caught into the waistband. You can also see at the front, they've got some pleating and gathering around the front. It's just a really sweet pattern and I thought it was really, I suppose for me, the styling of it really made it feel totally different to anything I'd ever seen. So floral fabrics for your bomber jackets. I think it's gorgeous and I really like I'll show you the blue version that's actually made in a quilted fabric, which I think would also work really well for this style. So loads of great things to think about and get kind of stuck into. Next up, they've got the Citadel Blouse, which is really lovely. It's a really nice and simple pattern if you're thinking, I want a sort of good top that will kind of get me through lots and lots of things. So if I show you the line drawing, you can see it's got princess seams, which I really love in the top, actually. I think you can get the fit right, you can get the kind of how tight you want it over your bust to tummy ratio. I'm definitely megally pro. So in terms of how, and then the back is just one cut piece and it's ever so slightly cut lower at the back, you can see, which I think is great. There are 3 different sleeve options. There's a short sleeve, a kind of flared flutter sleeve, and then there's a sleeve that's caught into quite a big sort of interesting shaped cuff, which I thought was really lovely. And they look totally different, you can see from the picture, so that's another one definitely to check. I will say all of them size-wise are 6 to 22 and paper only. Next up, they've got the tigre coat, or tiger coat, if we're translating it into English. That's probably the only bit of GCSE French I can tell you. I really like this one, so if you're thinking you want to make a coat, it feels like a mixture of a trench coat and a military coat. There are really nice details in it. So if we have a look at the line drawing, you can see there's quite a lot going on. So it's got these really lovely darts that are from the shoulder, which I think were in traditional military, how they started in terms of shaping. I think they were a military thing, so that to me feels really nice. Then there are options to have patch pockets. You can make it in 2 different lengths, and then it's got these really lovely little welt pockets which are sort of just kind of around the bust area. High neck, which you can obviously have open as well, or buttoned up depending on what you want. Actually, although it's actually quite simple construction because you've got the patch pockets. You can leave off the welt pockets if you feel like that's too much, a bit like too much. The sleeve is easy, like it's actually looks more complicated than it is. So if you are in the sort of, I wouldn't say beginner territory, but if you are thinking coat and you want to make something that feels quite tailored, this one would actually be a really nice option. So then we've got the Solifor dress, which this one's been really popular, and it's quite an interesting dress. I haven't seen anything shape-wise like this before. So you can see, if I show you a couple of pictures, so you can get kind of idea of what's going on. It's got a really lovely high neckline, and the fastening is to the side of the neckline, so it almost feels like those French Breton tops that have the kind of fastening up here. And then you can either make it with a high collar, a low collar. You can make it into a top as well as a dress, but the dress has got kind of a seam down here with an optional belt to kind of cinch it in, and then a slit up the side. It's just quite an interesting shape, and everyone has gone really mad for this one, so I am interested to see them sort of made up on and everyone wearing them, because I think it's a really nice pattern. Then we have got the Viper jumpsuit and dress. This is great actually. Another one that has a bit of a sort of military kind of nod to it. So the jumpsuit version is amazing. It feels a bit like a boiler suit that's a little bit more tailored. Let's have a look at the line drawing so we can see what is going on. You can see that it's got these two darts around into the neckline again. So that seems to be the kind of theme of the collection, running through these sort of interesting darts. Sewn in waistband, buttons all the way up the front, and I really like the dress version of it. So it's just almost like a little almost like a denim skirt put on the bottom of the jumpsuit. You could make this in lots of different fabrics and it would feel totally different. Obviously, if you made it in something more like a denim, it would be quite structured. Then you can make it in something like a, you know, viscose, and it would feel very sort of dressy. But I really like this one, so definitely worth going and having a look at. So next we've got a pattern from So Love Patterns. It's called the Wickom top, and I really thought this was great for beginners, and because you get quite a lot of options with it. So you can either make this in a woven, or you can make this in a stretch fabric. So that's great in terms of making a pattern feel totally different depending on what fabric you make it in. Very simple actually, the construction. I love it actually in this sort of loose drape viscose print top. So let's have a look at the line drawing and see what's going on. There are two different length options for this. You can either have it where it's left loose at the bottom, or you can have it with a elasticated bottom, so it kind of cinches in and sits up a bit higher, kind of at your waist. You can either have a shorter sleeve or longer sleeve. It's actually quite a dramatic sleeve, and I really liked it because actually in terms of the construction of it, it's very simple. And then the nice little detail is this little pleated piece around the neckline, which I think adds quite a lot of interest and actually isn't that hard to do, and kind of, yeah, it just works really well. So I thought it was a very well thought out pattern actually. Haven't told you what format you can get it in, so it's PDF only for this one, and in terms of sizing it's a UK 6 to 20, but yeah, I like that you can make it in stretch and woven fabrics as well. So now we have a style arc drop. We've got quite a lot of new patterns in the shop from them, and they are so good. So for style arc lovers, settle in. If you hate style arc, now's the time to go. Right, patterns. So they are paper only, these patterns, and you can either get they're in sizes 4 to 30. So great size range for this. The first one I've got is the Palmer woven dress, which I just am so into. I think this, I'm just going to say it, I think this might be the perfect shirt dress for any, well, for me. I think the shape of it's great. So before I get all like wafty, let's have a look at what's going on. So construction wise for a shirt dress, actually not too difficult. You can see it's quite loose fitting, which I like. The main form of sort of fit is the waistband, or the belt that kind of cinches you in at the waist. buttons down the front, quite nice big oversized sleeves which are short and rolled up, which I really like as a look. In terms of the collar, there is a proper stand and fall collar. I just like the boxiness of it. It feels very feminine. It's quite loose. There are slits in the side. It's just great, and you can make it in 2 different lengths. So to me, that is the perfect shirt dress. I just think it's really great. So if you're in the market for a shirt dress, please go and have a look at that as well as looking at everything else, but I think that's pretty good. Right, the Tommy jean skirt. This is, I feel like this is one of these classic things that happens where a trend spurs on a load of indie designers and then we have a glut of quite similar patterns released. So this Midi denim skirt, and I showed you guys one last week, split up the front, very much on trend for this season. Really nice take. I mean, quite an evolved make in terms of you've got all the details that you'd put on a pair of jeans, with the waistband and the top stitching. So it's definitely not a like beginner, I would say not beginner friendly pattern in terms of all the detail, but fit wise, compared to a pair of jeans, it's a lot easier. So it's a sort of midway ground between the two. This comes in sizes UK 4 to 30. It's just great. So if you're looking for a denim skirt, it's got a really good size range as well. Definitely worth checking out. Next up, we've got the Miranda skirt, which is a really nice simple skirt. If you're looking for something, I love how they've styled this with a kind of chunky jumper OT skirt. And I think it would work really well for Christmas parties. And actually really simple to make. So you can see that it's got 2 layers to it, so it's perfect if you want to have a sheer fabric like they've made theirs with, and then you have the sort of slightly shorter matte layer underneath. They've made it in a tulle, but you could make it in whatever fabric you wanted, and then the elasticated waist also means that it's great for you know, beginners, because fit wise it's kind of easy. So then we've got this, there are 2 patterns, but they look so good together that I think you need to have both of them in your life, I'm just going to say. So it's the yo-yo knit top and skirt, and I'll show you pictures because they are worn and styled together. So the top comes in 2 different options. You can make it so it's slightly cropped, or you can have it so it's slightly longer, sweatshirt style, and it's got that really nice detail that I feel is very, that little V that you have in a classic sweatshirt. I just think it's gorgeous, and then I think it looks amazing with the sort of pencil knitted skirt that it goes with, and making it either how they've done it here, tonal, similar tones, or in actually a matching fabric, makes such a lovely outfit. I think it's so great. I just love it. So if you haven't seen that, definitely worth going and having a look at. And last but not least, they've got a lovely jumpsuit pattern, which is quite simple. So let's have, I'll show you some pictures so you can get an idea. There are different variations on the neckline, so you can either go for a V or round neck. There are sleeve options, or you can make it sleeveless. It's got buttons down the back until the kind of waistband, and then it's elasticated around the waist. Wide trousers, Bob's your uncle. Great, just a really great jumpsuit. So that is it from me this week. I hope that was useful and you found something lovely to sew, and I will be back soon with another video. Bye.